On this week's Waypoint, we go over more than just a few of the patch notes and a look forward into the future of League of Legends, and I'm not talking about Earth mode. What's up guys, and welcome to Waypoint, your weekly League of Legends recap for April 10th, 2014. I'm your host, Mike Shafton. Now patch 4.5 has just arrived, bringing with it some major changes in the middle of the season. First up, Rengar's seen an overhaul, with seen being the key word, as he will now be visible at the beginning of his leap, not when he's almost about to hit you. This change becomes so much more significant as you climb the ranks, because with the right reaction time, crowd control or flash, you can actually ruin any Rengar's day. His unique item, Bone Tooth Necklace, will go into his trinket slot now, but don't worry, it's completely changed, so it won't give him free crazy stats. Rengar's Q, Savagery, saw a damage nerf overall, but the newly added 10% attack damage for 5 seconds on his empowered Q provides more sustained damage. The bonus armor and magic resistance on Rengar's W, Battle Roar, has been reduced, while his E, Bola Strike, has become a 1000 range skill shot with a 1.75 second root when it's empowered. If you can land that, it'll be somewhat comparable to Morgana's Binding and give Rengar a lot more utility. However, Rengar's ultimate, Thrill of the Hunt, really ties all of these changes together. It now only grants movement speed when moving towards enemy champions, and after breaking stealth, you get an even larger movement speed bonus for 10 seconds. The downside to this, however, is that targets will be alerted when Rengar's within 1000 range, though they won't gain any vision of it. Riot wants you to use Thrill of the Hunt to engage, not escape, and if you can get on that target, well, with the bonus movement speed and the Bola Strike, you should be able to stay on it. But a smart player will probably start moving towards safety the moment that Rengar enters the 1000 range. Switching over to the mid lane, the changes that we went over on a previous episode for Gragas have actually gone through. We won't go over all of the changes again, but in general, Gragas has been nerfed as a long-range burst poke mage and been buffed as an AP brawler who gets in close. Weird, right? I know. I'm not sure how much play Gragas is gonna see now, but some of these changes look eerily similar to Kassadin, and by all accounts, Kassadin is not in a great spot right now. That's all for the champion reworks, but now let's take a look at some of the champion changes. First up, Graves, well, they're actually giving him an ultimate now, which is rather nice. What I mean by this is his R saw a nice damage buff for the early game, where it oftentimes just seemed like a normal ability. Heimerdinger, who has appeared out of nowhere and started terrorizing the top lane, saw a much needed damage nerf, but it looks like he's still incredibly strong. Leona, who's a top tier support at the moment, saw an armor and magic resistance nerf to her W. Next, Lulu's been tearing it up in the LCS lately, and it was kind of obvious that Riot was gonna hit her. The damage on her E has been hit really hard, losing 80 base damage at its max rank. Just as important though, the duration that her fairy picks will actually stay on an enemy has been reduced down to 4 seconds. This means, well, good luck landing that double glitter lance. I think these changes were needed, but I'm slightly confused by this. Lulu can no longer shield minions, and where was the harm in ever letting her do that? It kinda gave some cool counterplay against last hitting in my opinion. Miss Fortune's been nowhere to be seen recently with the rise of Lucian in the bottom lane, so Riot has tweaked some numbers on her abilities to try and bring her back. Renekton is a problematic champion because he dominates so early, but unless he does so, he can be relatively useless in the late game. To try and address this, his ultimate will now be less effective early, but more effective later. So even if he doesn't go 3-0 in the lane, he should transition a little bit better as the game progresses. Next, I didn't really see this Wukong nerf coming, but the armor shred on his Q has been nerfed until it's ranked up completely. This is a fairly substantial nerf to the Monkey King's early game, as you generally max E first for the wave clear or jungle farm. Building armor against Wukong early will now actually do something, which I guess is a good thing. The damage ratio on Cyclone has also been hit slightly, but don't worry, it still hits like a truck that spins and knocks you back in an AoE. Yeah, it's still f***ing annoying. There were a few changes to items, but the most interesting one by far is the Pharaoh Flare, which is a new item that upgrades from Wriggle's Lantern after killing 25 large monsters. It gives attack damage and attack speed, as well as a bunch of useful jungling perks, as well as the old Wriggle's Lantern ward. This is just what the jungle pool needed, and anyone who benefits from attack speed will rock this item, I think. I'm thinking maybe Shaco, Shyvana, Nocturne, and even Udyr. The boot enhancements that we were expecting came through, but don't worry, as we predicted, distortion boots are not going to be as OP as they were on the test realm. They still look really nice though, with huge movement speed bonuses on Ghost, Flash, and Teleport. And finally, Summoner Spells Exhaust is now much more effective against mages, cutting their damage down to just 50%. Heal got a huge buff with less cooldown, more health restore, and movement speed buffs for all of those champions that are affected, which is just insane. I think if that stays how it is, we'll see a ton of heal for the LCS playoffs. Now, that's it for 4.5, but Riot is already offering their thoughts on patch 4.6. I really like the level of communication, and hopefully it means less surprises than we kind of got throughout 4.5. Like, say, Lee Sin being completely overhauled, then the community freaking out entirely, and then nearly having all of those changes reverted back. That sure was fun, wasn't it? Now, keep in mind that none of this is set in stone yet, and Riot isn't making any promises. First up, they think they undershot the power levels of Kassadin, Gragas, and Rengar within their reworks, though, and are going to try and address them as soon as they can. Riot wants to give Kassadin more reasons to get into melee range and improve his unique trait, which is being the anti-mage. Personally though, that's a trait that's really hard to give any champion that's supposed to exist within the mid lane with all of the mages. How do you balance that? Gragas, and this is still strange to say, needs more mobility so he can easily initiate and function as a tank within teamfights. Rest in peace mid lane Gragas, hello top lane Gragas. For Rengar, Riot seems pretty happy with him so far. They just want to clean up a few responsive issues on his skills as well as touch up his early game for the top lane as well as the jungle. And in the Renekton lane, the top lane, Riot doesn't want to nerf Renekton out of existence. He's a fun champion to play, and I think we can all agree. Instead, the plan is to buff up other champions over time in order to reach a level where they can actually lane against him. Needless to say, they can't change every top laner in one patch, and it's gonna take a while to get to everyone, so I guess it should be done by about 2025. Riot is trying to fine-tune the balance just right between Lulu as a support and Lulu as a mid laner, which is understandably hard. It's really strange because over the years, almost every support has rocked it in the mid lane. Annie, Morgana, Zyra, Soraka, the list just goes on. Over and over again, Riot just seems to keep running into this problem, and judging by the current state of things, the champions always end up back in the support position, so I guess we'll see how this turns out. Finally, for the jungle, Riot wants to bring back the supporty tanky junglers that have really disappeared in Season 4. Champions like Maokai and Nautilus are just non-existent, and Amumu sees just a little bit of play. More diversity in the jungle is always a good thing as it immediately opens up more team comps. If you have a tanky jungle, you can have an assassin in the top lane or a really funky bottom lane composition. Now, I'm sure you guys have tried Hulu at some point on your computer by now, right? Well, let me tell you guys, Hulu Plus offers so much more. Hulu Plus will let you guys watch all of your favorite shows, both new and old, all at the convenience of your very own schedule. This will open up a world of amazing television that will give you up-to-date episodes of your favorite shows like Family Guy, New Girl, or The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. You can even relive the good old days of Toonami by watching Dragon Ball Z, or if you guys really want to know the show that I binge out on almost every single night, it's gotta be Attack on Titan. Seriously guys, if you haven't watched this show yet, Hulu Plus is worth it for this show alone. And honestly guys, if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor, well, producing this show would be a lot more difficult. So why don't you guys show them your appreciation by signing up for a free trial of a really amazing service. Just head on over to huluplus.com/gamebreaker or click the link that can be found in the description below. That does it for this week's episode of Waypoint. Be sure to check back every week on Friday for updated League of Legends news. If you guys like this video, well, please be sure to like and comment below as it helps spread our audience. And if you guys want to see more League of Legends content, recaps, and updates, well, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, LolNation TV. I'm Mike Shafton. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Mike Shafton. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next Waypoint.
Gamebreaker TV.